Hey there, darling. Welcome back to Visibility Vixen. You're listening to episode 25.
Changing our vibration, because we're always creating, and we're either creating thoughts of good or we're creating thoughts of bad.
Welcome to the Visibility Vixen podcast, where we create space to grow our brand with intention and clarity, one episode at a time. Join us as we explore the many aspects of entrepreneurship, start loving the journey instead of the destination, and begin building a legacy that lasts. Here's your host, Michelle Lewis.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode. Thrilled about today's guest. Her name is Devani Freeman, and I actually met her at an event a couple months ago. She has this gorgeous, long, flowing blonde hair, and I was like, this girl, I have to meet her. She just absolutely glows. So Devani, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's such a thrill to have you here. And for those of you that don't know, Devani focuses on building your audience. And her goal is to help heart-centered women in business to build their buzz online and get known as the go-to expert in their field. So she does that by showing them step by step how to authentically grow an online following through social media and turn those followers into paying clients. Hence why she's here on Visibility Vixen. So Devani, give us a little bit more about that, about what you do and how you got to this place of finding your mission.
Yes. Well, I have always had a drive. I've always had a passion for helping women to, own their beauty, own their worth, own their confidence. And this started at a young age. So out of high school, I actually did hair. So I got into the beauty industry, and I did that for 6 years and absolutely loved it. But I also had this drive, this little voice saying that I was meant to do and be more. And I kept getting curious about that voice and just surrendering to that voice, and landed a job in the marketing advertising world. And I knew nothing about marketing, advertising, or sales. And it was so fascinating. I had actually a client that I did hair, to paint this beautiful picture about this freedom and this lifestyle and working with business owners and helping them with advertising. And I was like, you know what, that sounds kind of fun. And so fast forward, I worked for that company in corporate America for about 2 years and realized I wasn't quite cut out for corporate America. And I did not like being micromanaged. And I also built a really strong relationship with these small business owners. And I realized the products just weren't delivering like they should. Everything was going online. This huge shift was taking place at that time. This is back in 2009. And so I started to just consume every moment that I had outside of working with learning online marketing, social media, hired a coach. I started to implement this in a home-based business that I launched, because I was like, okay, I need an exit plan for this corporate America thing, because it's not working for my personality. And the strategies that I was using was starting to work. And that's when I realized, wow, all small businesses, all entrepreneurs really can have incredible results with marketing their business when they use social media and online marketing the right way. And so I decided to make the leap into working full-time for myself. One of the scariest things I've ever done. And I started just a small consulting business, and I was doing marketing consulting, and business is always evolving. So for those listeners out there that's like, I got to get this absolutely right, and my messaging needs to be perfect before I can actually get out there, just take action and get it out there, because things are going to evolve as you start to grow and as you start to create movement.
So true.
So Yeah. And so that's how I then came to what I do now, where it's like I'm fusing like my love of helping, women with the beauty, with getting out there, with their confidence, but doing it with helping them to be visible online, helping them to show up confidently, but knowing like the right strategies and what is going to help them to build their brand. And so that's kind of in a nutshell of like how I got here. And it's just evolved from here. I also run an online agency offering done for you services. But my big love is helping the women entrepreneurs and really helping them to confidently put themselves out there so they can build their own audience and their own tribe.
Love that. So let's fast forward to kind of showing where you've come. I'd love to hear more. I know you've just moved into a new place, and this is why a lot of people are getting into online entrepreneurship. They want more freedom. So I know that you've been creating that for yourself, especially over the past year. So give us just a little glimpse into what that looks like in your new place.
Yeah, so I, in the last year, moved from, rainy Seattle to sunny San Diego, and I've moved into a beautiful place. I got here and found a great place, and now just upgraded to a place with an ocean view, keeping the step and the momentum moving forward. And, I had this vision of the lifestyle that I wanted to have. Freedom is a huge driver for me. I think that there's no coincidence that my last name is Freeman. Freeman. So that's like a deep, deep, strong desire for me. And so what that looks like for me is being able to live in a beautiful home, being able to live wherever I want, being able to travel and still being able to run my business. And being able to make my own hours and, work out any time of the day that I want to do that, run my team meetings anytime, just having that freedom and flexibility. And, I did the whole 9-to-5 thing, and I was like, this is just, crushing my soul and my spirit. And so that's, a big driver for me and a big why is creating that freedom base. And so, so many people that is their driver, whether they want to just travel the world, for months on end. And with how we can create and profit from a business online these days, you are totally able to do that. And it's so beautiful. And it's such an exciting time to be able to build an online business.
Absolutely. So let's kind of dive into the meat here so that us ladypreneurs can leave this interview with a couple actionable steps. I'd love to know, so in the very, very beginning, let's say you're just starting your online business, and let's say that you're a health coach, because I know there's a lot of health coaches out there. Where do they focus first?
Okay, so they're just starting their business and they're a health coach. So the first thing that you really want to focus on is building your audience, I think is the main thing to focus on. So a lot of times you want to create your products and services, and really you're not going to have anybody to actually purchase your products and services if you don't have an audience of people to talk to. Mm-hmm. And so one of the first things that I started doing in my business is I started building my audience locally. And I started going to strategic networking events that I knew would be filled with people that not necessarily be potential clients, but people that would be awesome business besties. So when you're first starting a business, a lot of the people that you're surrounded by are people that maybe were coworkers or high school friends, or they're not necessarily entrepreneurs. And so when you're first starting out, it's so important for you to be surrounded by other like-minded women. And so I seeked out and attended networking events, and I would probably attend at least one a week. And you can just go on right now and Google women networking and then put in your city. There's also a really great resource called meetup.com. And I would go to these events, not like necessarily, oh my gosh, I need to get clients. Like that's thinking about you. It's like me, versus the mindset of give, give, give. How can I make connections? How can I be of service? How can I become friends with someone? Who's someone that I would love to buy a cup of coffee for? And I would go and I would connect with that mindset. And then I would take the business cards, or I'd take the name and emails of people that I resonated with. And then I would connect with them on Facebook. I would follow them on Instagram. And now what that's doing is that's making you top of mind. That's keeping you front and focused and keeping you connected.
Right.
And that's a key piece for you starting to slowly build your audience. And there's never a better audience than people you've actually met in person, but that can only go so far. So for the first step, like that is absolutely key. You know, the next thing is like getting a couple really great testimonials, you know, figuring out what is your sweet spot. What is that one thing that you can hone in on and be known for? Doesn't mean that it is the end all be all. Doesn't mean you can't offer other things, but for you to build your audience quicker, for people to, you know, tag you of this person is a specialist in this, you definitely want to hone in on one thing. And to figure that out, offer some pro bono work at the beginning, like, or a very discounted service to figure out your strategy, your methodology, what makes you unique and what your sweet spot is. Because that is going to help you with your messaging. That is going to help you feel confident in what you're offering. And that's also going to help you with social proof, with you being able to leverage a testimonial or a case study. Really, all it takes is one case study for you to have so much more confidence and other people's confidence in what you do.
I love that. And so kind of transitioning that into applicability, and let's say this health coach is new to the Facebook group scene, but sees all the posts that are going on. She's probably going, how the heck, like if I want to order or offer pro bono work for these testimonials, how the heck do I stand out in these Facebook groups that have anywhere from 500 to 3,000 people? So how do you think the best way is to stand out, and what kind of content should they be posting?
Yeah, so the best way to stand out, whether you're in a Facebook group or you're on any type of social media platform, is to tell a story. So I always say that stories sell and facts tell. So when you tell a story, and this story, if you're selling yourself or wanting to enroll people in your vision of them getting on board to be one of your case studies or testimonials, you need to give them a little bit of a story about who you are, what it is that you do, and why you do it. So what is that purpose? What is that drive? And even better if you have a little bit of a rags to riches, or like if you're a health coach, what was your journey? You know, I had a client, one of my very first clients I started working with, and she was an online health coach, or wanting to take her business online. And she was an in-person nutritionist and chef. And so she had this story that she lost 100 pounds that she never told anyone. And I was like, girl, you are hiding gold
This is gold.
here.
Yes.
Yes. And she was like so fearful and like very timid. She's like, really? She's like, I hadn't even told my boyfriend that I was 100 pounds heavier. And I was like, girl, there is never a better time. And when we talk about the ability that it's not about you, it's about the difference you can make with that story, because how many more people can relate to someone that has lost 100 pounds than someone that's always had an incredible body and then saying, I can help you achieve your ideal body? Like,
exactly.
I want to go with the person that's been through the shit, you know?
Yes.
So, yeah. And so when she did that, I mean, her she got featured on like some Women's Day magazine. Like she's done some big projects. She does all like the personal chef now for like the Seahawks, and like all some crazy journey happened when she started to share her story. And so if you want to make an impact and stand out in those Facebook groups, I want you to dig into your story. It doesn't even have to be that big. It could be a little milestone. It could be something about, you know, being a single mom and being just okay with like not feeling and looking your best, but knowing like, you know, that you have to be your best for your child to have the best possible life. And that's, you know, when you learn that, this is what transformed, and this is how you've changed, and this is what you've achieved, and this is what you can help people with.
Absolutely. That's so powerful.
Yeah,
awesome.
It is so powerful.
So let's say that she is out there and she's posting this incredible content and she's getting some engagement. How does she then transition to attracting more followers strategically?
Yes. So that's going to be really great content and posting consistently. Okay. So that's the key. You want to be posting at least once a day. And, you know, if it's a lot to think about that, don't think that you need to be on Pinterest and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and Snapchat. Like, just keep it simple and perhaps choose one social media platform to really focus on and get consistent with. And then what you'll learn is that a lot of the content that you're creating, let's say for like Facebook, can also be posted on Instagram, timing it a little bit different. But a lot of those can be a little bit overlapped because you're going to notice that you're going to have a different audience on Facebook than you are on Instagram.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the second piece is that a lot of times, you know, I see women entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in general just thinking that it's just about posting. And really, that's only half of the effort that it takes. It's not just posting, but it's then giving out. So it's you commenting on other people's posts. It's you sharing other people's content. It's you being a cheerleader and a supporter for other people. Because if you want that in return, you've got to also give that yourself.
Absolutely.
So when you get in a rhythm of doing that, and that could be, you know, setting your alarm for, you know, twice a day for 10 minutes a day, going on and seeing as many people that you can get to that seem in your target audience. And you can find these people by, you know, looking up different hashtags or finding people, you know, through doing Google searches or on YouTube and going through and making comments, adding value, adding your 2 cents and giving people support. And when you do that, then other people are going to see your post on that person's post. Other people are going to start liking that. That person that you like their stuff is then going to turn back and do the same for you. And that's how the momentum starts to build for you being able to build up your audience, your following more on social media.
Love that. I love that it's actionable and you can do all of this in probably, you know, half an hour a day.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's awesome to just start getting into that habit. Because I think, and I struggle with this too, you can be doing all the posting and stuff, but then you're looking at the social media throughout the day and it can seem overwhelming. Like, oh, I'm giving so much time being on Instagram or Facebook. And I know it's because, at least for me, I struggle with, okay, I'm going to do this much time per day and post this and interact this much and all of that. I haven't set up that structure for myself yet. So I love that that is very actionable and doable.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's say that you're going through these steps and now you're ready, you have your offerings and your products. How can you start translating those followers into customers?
Yes, it's a great question. Favorite topic. So, I always say that social media is rented space. So you don't actually own your fans, your followers. At any time, Facebook could change their algorithm again. Instagram changed their algorithm earlier this year. Like, you just never know. And so you want to always be getting people off of social media. I say, like, social media is, a great connection platform, but also a great traffic generator for getting people off of social media and onto your email list, where you then can make the offer. So people aren't going to social media to look to buy your service. And you're going on there to be social. Mm-hmm. And so most of the sales that you're going to make is going to happen on the back end. And so what you want to be doing is getting them into your email list through some sort of juicy offer. And what I mean by a juicy offer is something that is digital, so they can download it, they can consume it. It's something that your target audience is in need of. So maybe this is, a question that you're getting a lot, and you can create a training video answering this question. Or, maybe this is a template or a checklist. If you're a health coach, it could be, 5 simple meal ideas that you can prepare in under 30 minutes a day, like something like that. That's really super easy, quick, and people love to consume it and digest it. And so you're going to be driving your social media traffic to a landing page, not your website. People will get lost in your website. There's like all sorts of stuff going on your website, and they will get distracted. So a landing page is like a separate site all on its own. It just has one call to action, and that is to sign up for your juicy free offer. So it talks about your juicy free offer, what is in it for them, the benefits of it, and why they should grab it. And then they put in their name and email to grab that free offer. And that's how you can start to get your followers off of social media. And my favorite to like pump it up even more is by doing Facebook ads. Mm-hmm. And that's like a whole other animal, like we can talk about. But Facebook ads, there are some really simple strategies, and that's a great way for you to get in front of a new audience really quickly, is by paying to play, which Facebook has definitely turned into a pay to play platform. Mm-hmm. If you want to make a lot of traction quicker. Absolutely. Not saying that you have to use Facebook ads, but it's like the next step. Mm-hmm. If you really want to, boost your efforts in a quick period of time.
I love that. And I would love to have you back to just have a whole episode dedicated to Facebook ads. I think that would be amazing.
Yes.
That would be awesome. But I think you're right. It would take us such a long time to dive into that. There's so many layers, and I love that. And I love strategy for Facebook. So let's talk more about, in terms of what you're talking about, because today we're talking a lot about building your audience. A lot of women out there are feeling that pressure, that cone of silence of invisibility. So whoever's listening right now, let's say that they're really struggling and they're having just a really crappy day, but they've had at least the momentum to get on this podcast and to listen to this episode. What is the one piece of advice that you would give them so that they can start feeling more visible and start taking more action today?
Yeah. So that's a really great question. We as women entrepreneurs definitely all struggle at some point with our mindset, with our resistance. And I like to say that your level of success is based on your ability for you to be able to manage your emotions. Mm-hmm. And this is something like I recently just went through a really intense emotional intelligence course, which taught me a lot about why we do things and why we act a certain way. And, the first thing I could say is to first become aware of those thoughts. So a lot of times we want to just sit in them and react to them, whether that's, just throwing your hands up and saying, I'm not going to do this today, whether it's like, today is just not a day, I'm just going to go back to bed, or whatever that may be. It's first becoming aware of what those feelings are. And then I like to say that it's then releasing or surrendering those feelings. And what I love to do is journal. So journaling has been a huge tool and tactic strategy for my success. And so every time I'm up against something where I feel resistance, perhaps this is, I'm feeling like I'm in comparison mode. I'm going online and I'm seeing all these other women, and then I'm like, wow, I could never be there, or look at her, like, who are people to listen to me? So taking that thought, so number one, becoming aware that that's what you're saying to yourself. And then number two is surrendering that by turning that into a positive affirmation. And it doesn't need to be a positive affirmation where it's like, I have this incredible, millions of followers, like making it realistic where I am feeling into my power. I am visible. I have the right amount of audience, and I love waking up every day with what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So that could be an idea. So any sort of little positive affirmation that you can create for yourself based on how it is that you're feeling. And if it's something where you're really, really in a dark place, or just like it keeps coming up, what I'll also do, and what I've done, is setting an alarm in your phone for twice a day, maybe 10 a.m. and 8 p.m., where this little reminder comes up that has that positive affirmation on your phone. And when that pops up, you read it, you pause, you take a deep breath, and you sit in the feelings of what it is to feel the joy, to feel the ease, to feel the worthiness, to feel the confidence that all of us have in our power to have at any time that we want.
I love that. I just watched this interview today, and the name of the guy escapes me, but he was at an Indian reservation, and someone was there visiting too, and they were like, we really need rain. We haven't had rain in a couple months. And so he said, well, come with me and we'll do like a little ceremony to invite the rain. So the guy followed him, and he went and stood in the middle of the circle with his feet in the bare sand. And he literally, this guy that invited him, closed his eyes for maybe a minute, and then came out, was like, okay, let's go get some lunch. And he was like, well, I thought there was going to be some huge ceremony or something, that I've heard of to bring the rain. And he said, oh, no, I just sat there and pictured how the rain would feel on my skin and how my feet would feel in the mud from the rain happening. He said, since I've experienced it and affirmed it, I'm done. And that was so beautiful to me, because I feel like I've done affirmations in the past, but it's kind of hard to stick, and it shows the importance of that emotional attachment, of that elevated emotion. So I love that you brought that up, because that simplifies our work to such a high extent.
Yes, I love that story.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and we really underestimate how powerful it is for us to just drop in and change that. Like, by you reading that affirmation, you're changing your vibration, because we're always creating, and we're either creating thoughts of good or we're creating thoughts of bad. Mm-hmm. And so it's just these little reminders to just drop in, to be aware, and to shift that perspective, to shift our perception of what we're thinking at that moment. And when you continue to do this, and you do this more and more, you're going to continue to attract more and more of those positive thoughts, of those thoughts of confidence, of those thoughts of being in flow. And that is going to help you with staying out of resistance, so you can take that next step forward that you need to take.
Absolutely. Well, and I think it would have saved me so much time in the beginning of my business to put most of that work into my intention and emotionally experiencing those results before they came, instead of, I tend to be a little bit more technically minded. So I'm like, okay, I need the exact formula to do this, this, and this. It works, but it takes a lot longer. So I think merging those two is just a beautiful thing. And I love that that's what you've done on this podcast, to give actionable steps, but then really talk about focusing on the mindset. So love it.
Yeah. And I was the same way, Michelle. Like, I'm like a go-getter, controller. So it's like, I didn't want to sit in that. I was just like, okay, no, I need to learn this and learn this. I bought so many like online info products like my first year, because I was dealing with thoughts and feelings of not feeling good enough, that I needed to know more, that I wasn't like, resistance comes up in so many different areas. And so everything that I share is because I've been there. Like the first year, I was like, okay, like I either got to go back to corporate America or I got to make this work. And so developing that, miracle mindset, really working on that and realizing that we do have the power when we stop and we're not just go and forcing, but really taking time for that visualization and those affirmations. It's key.
Love it. So let's transition into the incredible gift that you're offering our audience today. Let's talk a little bit about the Build Your Audience Challenge.
Yes. So the Build Your Audience Challenge is a really, really fun 5-day challenge for women entrepreneurs that want to become known as the go-to expert in their industry. They want to start to build a tribe, and they want to figure out how to leverage social media to do that. And so it's a really, really great challenge where I guide them through a process, and they get daily action steps that are really consumable and easy, yet very impactful, on how they can start to do that and start to build audience, how to build deep connections, and some really, really great content. And it's absolutely free. So they can definitely sign up and get access to that. And it's a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Well, that is amazing. I love doing challenges. I don't know about you, but it's like, if I can get in and out and do like a 5-day challenge, I get more from that than anything else. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, I think that this has been an amazing time together. Thank you so much, Devani, for coming on the show. For our listeners, I hope that this has touched your heart where you're at. I hope this has broken things down into more actionable steps. I think that the worst feeling is being in confusion, because you feel overwhelmed, defeated, and you just don't know what to do. So the best way is to be given clarity from people who have been there and done that. And I hope that has been really wonderful for you to hear today. Thank you so much, Devani, for coming on the show. And I am so excited for this podcast to be released to our listeners.
Thank you so much, Michelle. You are amazing. It's truly an honor to be here.
Thank you. And I'm so glad we actually, guys, we're practicing what we preach. Devani and I met at an event. So it can happen. It's a wonderful thing. So definitely get into your Google search bar and start looking at networking events so you can make similar incredible connections with other like-minded ladypreneurs. So we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening in today to the Visibility Vixen podcast. Subscribe now and share with a fellow Vixen who wants to start building their visibility. For more fire in your life and brand, visit visibilityvixen.com.